Everyone has a story to tell. In this episode, you'll learn all about narrative writing.
Learning can be fun! If you like learning in exciting and engaging ways, then Talking Study Guides is for you! I'm Mr. C, and let's get started. Have you ever told a story in your life? If you have, then what you did is told a narrative. A narrative is a type of writing that tells a story. It's a series of related events. Narrative stories can be shared orally or as a form of writing. Narrative stories can be true or made up, but all narratives should include important story elements such as a setting, a plot, characters, and a point of view, meaning the person who is telling the story. Narrative stories often have problems and solutions, and many carry a theme or a life lesson. A personal narrative is when the author tells a true story that happened to them. It's based on true events and tells the details of what actually happened. Because personal narratives are written by the person telling the story, words like me and I are used frequently. This reminds the reader that it is a real person telling a real story that happened. To help you learn more about personal narratives, I'm happy to share one of my personal narratives with you. My Trip to Hawaii by Mr. C. For my personal narrative, I am going to be writing about the time my wife and I traveled to Hawaii. It was the best trip I have ever been on. 1 week after my wife and I got married, we took an exciting trip to Hawaii. Although it was a long plane ride, it was well worth it. Hawaii is made up of different islands, and the first one that we visited was Oahu. In Oahu, we went swimming, relaxed on Waikiki Beach, and ate the best pineapple that I've ever tasted. One day, we took a snorkeling trip to a place called Hananama Bay. While I was snorkeling, I thought I saw a shark! I frantically began splishing and splashing my way back to shore. As it turns out, my wife, who was snorkeling next to me, had seen the same fish. She said that it was a milkfish, and she had seen many pictures about it when reading about the bay. Afterwards, we laughed about it. The next day, we climbed up a volcano called Diamond Head. Although it was once an active volcano, it is now dormant and is a popular hiking spot for locals and tourists. We stayed in Oahu for a total of 3 days, and then we went on a Hawaiian cruise. The cruise took us to other Hawaiian islands. We went to Maui, the Big Island, Lanai, and Kauai. We spent a day on each island eating at local restaurants, learning about the history of the islands, and seeing all forms of wildlife. Kauai was our favorite island because it was so peaceful, and one day we saw a sea turtle. When we finally left, I was sad to say goodbye to Hawaii. All in all, visiting Hawaii was an awesome experience. I hope to go back one day and visit even more sites. Sometimes getting started on your writing can be tricky. Let's review a few strategies that can help you get started with your narrative pieces. Strategy 1. Make a list of all the topics that you can think of that were exciting in your life. Maybe it was a dance recital you performed that was incredible. Maybe you made a game-winning shot in basketball. Maybe it was the first time that you had a sleepover with your best friend. Whatever your story is, remember that it is your story, and that's what makes it meaningful. Another great way to start writing pieces is by making a graphic organizer. In a graphic organizer, you can jot some ideas down on paper. The graphic organizer is a way of organizing your ideas by making short phrases to remind you what events you want to include in your story. A third strategy is to remember that your narrative should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Each paragraph should start with a topic sentence. A topic sentence is a sentence that summarizes the main idea of the paragraph. Writing personal narratives can be challenging, and your work can require many drafts. Don't get frustrated, and remember that no one can tell the story better than you. I hope that you learned a ton about narratives. Now, give these 3 questions a try. Question 1. A form of writing that tells a story is called what? If you said a narrative story, then you're correct. Question 2. A type of narrative in which a person writes about a true experience they have had is called a personal narrative or a persuasive piece. If you said personal narrative, you're right on! Question 3. A tool that helps organize your thoughts before you start writing your first draft is called a verb analyzer or a graphic organizer. If you said graphic organizer, well done! Thank you so much for joining us today to learn all about writing narrative pieces. I can't wait to see and hear the stories that you're coming up with. And remember, nobody knows the story better than you. Well, don't wait around for me. Get going on your stories now. Let's see those ideas turn into words. Thanks for watching.